June 1462, on the Wallachian plains near the Danube. An advancing Ottoman force is brought to a sudden standstill. These soldiers are familiar with the face of death, but this is an unprecedented sight. As they peer through the morning mist, they realize the shapes they mistook for trees are, in fact, human bodies. 20,000 souls, men, women, and even children, all horrifically impaled. Next comes the odor. A nauseating blend of putrefaction, the metallic tang of blood, and the foul scent of disemboweled bodies. It catches in the throat and makes the stomach churn. This smell is carried by the wind for miles. The stakes themselves are positioned with a chilling geometric accuracy, forming a nightmarish pattern. Some bodies are twisted at odd angles, a testament to their struggle, while others who perished swiftly are slumped over, as if in a final, desperate prayer. And there, at the very center, towering above the rest, is a stake plated in gold. On it rests the Turkish governor of Nicopolis. His skin is ruptured and swarming with black flies. His mouth locked open in an unending shriek. This was no mere casualty of battle. It was a declaration signed by Vlad Dracula. The Ottoman army turned and fled. They would not conquer this territory today. But here is the reality that many historical accounts omit. This horrifying display was not the peak of Vlad's cruelty. Vlad, the ruler of Wallachia, reigned during a period when brutality was an ordinary tool of power. However, he employed it with extraordinary zeal. He did not simply execute. He orchestrated death. He did not merely discipline. He created a spectacle. Scribes from both the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman court documented his practices. Some were aghast, others reluctantly impressed. His executions were never impulsive acts of rage. They were carefully staged theatrical productions, designed to demoralize his adversaries and ensure his own nobles remained in a state of fear. One court chronicler depicted Vlad's public punishments as a marketplace transformed into an abattoir, where the screams of the dying mingled with the bartering of merchants. Even trivial offenses could result in a death sentence: theft, adultery, or dishonesty. On occasion, the punishment mirrored the crime. More frequently, it mirrored the king's whim. And his preferred tool was a simple, sharpened piece of wood. The purpose of impalement was not just to kill, but to prolong the process. The stake was sanded smooth and sometimes coated in animal grease. The tip was deliberately kept blunt, not sharp enough to cause a quick death. Instead, this rounded end was slowly forced into the victim's body, typically through the rectum, but sometimes through the mouth or torso. The victim's demise could take hours, or even days. Eyewitnesses spoke of men left writhing for 2 full days in the sun, their skin blistering and flies depositing eggs in their wounds before they finally succumbed. The sound was of wet tearing, a muffled groan escalating into a scream that dissolves into hoarse sobs, until even the sobbing ceases. For Vlad, the genius of impalement was its visibility. The victims were hoisted high into the air. A person's slow death could be witnessed from the city walls, from the surrounding fields, or from the next town over. In today's terms, it was akin to a live broadcast of every execution, but with the added sensory horror of the stench, the heat, and the palpable taste of fear in the atmosphere. Impalement became Vlad's trademark, yet he was hardly the only medieval monarch to elevate execution to a form of performance art. Peter the Cruel of Castile had traitors boiled alive in cauldrons large enough for a man to stand in. It was said the scent of cooking human flesh would waft into the royal chambers, and Peter would occasionally dine with the windows open. Ivan the Terrible had a preference for roasting his victims over low flames, rotating them like hogs on a spit. In the winter, he would have people stripped naked, drenched in water, and left to freeze into solid statues before being shattered into fragments. Vlad's own methods were just as creative. He utilized the breaking wheel, where victims were tied to a large wagon wheel, their limbs broken with iron clubs, and then threaded through the spokes to expire slowly in the sun. He sometimes had his enemies blinded before their execution, forcing them to stumble around his court for amusement. In one notoriously gruesome act, He arranged a feast amidst the impaled corpses of his foes. He ate with composure, wiping his hands as flies buzzed all around him. The message was always the same. Death was not merely a punishment, it was propaganda. In 1462, the Ottomans once again marched on Wallachia with a massive army. Knowing he couldn't win a conventional battle, Vlad resorted to terror. During an event known to history as the Night Attack, Vlad's soldiers stealthily infiltrated the Ottoman encampment under the cover of darkness. They killed quietly at first, then with piercing screams. Fires erupted, horses panicked, and steel clashed. As dawn broke, the Ottomans retreated, only to ride directly into that same valley of 20,000 stakes. Picture it. The morning fog lifts to expose endless rows of bodies. The ones still alive moan feebly, swaying with the breeze. Crows hop from one corpse to another, plucking at eyes and tongues. An entire army was defeated not by force of arms, but by the sheer horror of the fate that awaited them. History remembers Vlad the Third as both a national hero and a monster. In Romania, he is still celebrated as the defender of the homeland against Ottoman invasion. In the West, his name was warped into the legend of a vampire. But the reality is more unsettling than either story. Vlad was not a madman. He was calculating. Every stake, every wheel, every cauldron of boiling water was a deliberate message. Submit or endure this. And here is the disquieting truth. His tactics were effective. Crime rates plummeted. The nobility remained obedient. His enemies were hesitant to attack. In our modern era, we like to think we have moved past such barbarism. But have we truly, or have we merely altered the venue? We consume depictions of death in movies and viral clips, all from the comfortable distance of a screen. Our appetite for spectacle remains. If this was the work of just one king, consider the horrors that history has allowed us to forget. Subscribe for more unsettling truths that history has tried to conceal, and leave your thoughts in the comments below.